it's not going to be long before TikTok is at scale. At that point in time, it's now the same. Now we're paying to play. It's like Instagram. It's like Facebook. So if there's anything that comes out of today's podcast, everyone out there recognize that you have to get on TikTok, start making content. Don't be afraid to pivot all of your resources from Instagram to TikTok.
I think video is a base skill that people should have, right? It should be, you should be able to know how to like do Excel, figure out a PowerPoint,
Which a lot of people still can't do Excel.
Yeah, sure.
Right, and that's the thing, right? Is we have to find a way for people to have those basic skills.
Yeah.
Excel, Microsoft Word, video, a couple others in there.
And I actually think that video will come sooner than maybe even Excel, because it's already native. Like, people already have their phones in their hands, right? They're already cutting stuff up. So maybe video will, and it's an important skill to know. So, but I think like anybody coming into business, whether you are executive, you're on the front lines, you're the admin assistant, like your base skill should be Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and video.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of people still that aren't comfortable on video, and maybe that's the outlier. But people growing up now are.
I'm not
going
saying.
to be comfortable.
I'm not even saying like being on video. Just being able to cut and edit video.
It's coming.
Yeah, no,
right?
I agree.
The newest iOS update now, you can color grade your video right on your phone, which wasn't an option before. You needed to get it into iMovie. You needed to compare it to pictures, which you could change everything. So with this newest iOS update, I think that the tools to make it easier for everybody are coming.
Yeah.
For example, I said TikTok, right? There is 14-year-olds that can execute better transitions on TikTok than videographers that have been in the industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
On their phone.
Yeah.
Which means that people are falling behind, and the younger people growing up with that as their native platform, understanding video, are going to be able to execute it at a high level. And everyone else has to catch up.
Yeah.
As we get going.
I mean, it's the same thing when it comes to other sort of base technologies where, you know, when video becomes democratized, then, you know, the game changes, right?
Yeah, and then there'll be VR. Then there'll be something else for us to deal with. But listen, there's one of your videos that I watched a while back. And just so everyone knows, I don't know.
We saw this?
Oh yeah, we're there. I'm sure.
We started this?
Oh yeah, he's rolling.
Oh shit! Okay, no. I didn't know this.
See, and this is the pre-roll, right? As soon as I say sound the sound, then Omid sounds the sound. He saves me because I'm not good at intros. I'm just gonna say, hey, we're with Shawn, sound the sound, and he will sound the sound, and we're off to the races. But where was I even? Now we're rolling, and I freeze. But no. The thing about it is,
you watched the video of mine.
Yeah, I watched the video.
I was waiting for the compliment. I was waiting for you watched the video of mine, and you were like, "That was an insightful
What were we
piece."
talking about before that? We were talking about
TikTok base skill.
People don't want to change.
Yeah.
Right. I watched one of your videos, and I was watching it, and you were saying how people have a tough time accepting change and changing, and I can't agree with that more, because when you break it down and you look at the fact that so many businesses are not accepting video yet. So many of them are still spending a ton of money on old print ads that get them less attention, less eyeballs, less impact. They just aren't willing to make that change. And it takes a whole bunch of young innovators, people that are willing to risk it all, to take that to the next level and then to compete and beat those companies that become dinosaurs, that become fossils. So,
you know, to the video point and the fact that people don't want to change, people know that they have to do video. It's just uncomfortable for them to do video.
Yeah.
So they stay in their lane, and they don't do it, and they keep on doing the same thing that they're familiar with, even though they know that video is the way to go. And it's the mentality. It's just, we do this all the time as human beings. We just continue doing the shit that we're good at.
I get it, but it's going to take. I've always said this. I've always said that as I get older, the only thing that I want to focus on is trying to keep learning something every day. Because if I can continue to adapt and not get stuck in that lane, then you can continue to evolve. You can continue to keep your brain working. You continue to keep going. But so many people, like you said, they get stuck in their lane. They don't want to necessarily make that change. They're happy with where they're at. But what that allows for is it allows for change. It allows for new businesses to grow, new entrepreneurs to take over, new industries to take over, which right now, that's why there's so much disruption in the world, because there's so much of that online and digital innovation that's coming out that's just gobbling up industries. Retail's next. Retail's going to come through. Retail can't give the experience that an instant online experience like Amazon will be able to do when they can get you your delivery the same day. That's what people want, and that experience is just going to continue to take over. Other businesses are going to come out and gobble up. The mass extinction of businesses is coming.
100%.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Can we just get back to the video? Just let's finish this thought on the TikTok-based video piece. I just want to say this: you guys are killing it.
We're trying.
TikTok.
We're trying.
You guys are so.
We're trying.
Okay, TikTok is very much like what I call very similar to AI. Everybody sort of wants to talk about it, but no one is a practitioner, tactician, like working in it. Like, how many businesses that you know today in Edmonton area are on TikTok?
Zero. So, listen, Shawn, TikTok is interesting, and we have mentioned it to pretty much everybody. But nobody is willing to adapt it the same way they weren't willing to adapt Instagram when it came out. So when Instagram came out and it was starting to get hot.
You know, I was trying
when it was organic.
Yeah.
When everyone was trying to put out
we're
pictures.
Saying like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone was, people were getting on it. Influencers were being made. Lives were changing overnight because they were posting stuff and it would go out. Eyeballs would see it. Now everyone's on Instagram, but it's at scale. So what happens with Facebook and Instagram at scale is the organic traction goes down. Now you need to have your audience in your sphere, which creates the engagement, which allows you to get a little bit more organic traction. But it's more work.
Yeah.
It costs money now. You have to advertise more. You have to build an audience because it's already at scale. So whenever you're looking and whenever a company's trying to develop their brand equity in a way that's get the biggest bang for their buck, they have to look at the platforms that aren't at scale yet.
Totally.
And there's a bunch out there, but right now the biggest one, the up and coming one, is TikTok.
So you have, I was looking at your TikTok content. Like I've had TikTok for a while, just as an observer.
Yeah.
Over the last, I'd say, month and a half, 2 months, been posting on there because I want to be a practitioner, tactician too. We're actually starting like a bit of an experimental lifestyle brand company that's only going to be on TikTok. Like TikTok only.
And that's what you should do.
And I'll show you some of the footage later. And we got, we rented out some of the best studios. We got some of the coolest TikTok kids. We invited them out.
Yeah.
So we're going to be building content with them. But you're killing it on there. And, just with all the animations and you're doing something that's really different. And you already have more than like 1 million likes. Mm-hmm. You have already like 30,000 followers. It's crazy.
Well, I think the main thing that we learned, so here's my advice for TikTok. You have to be native.
Yeah.
Because right now, the reason TikTok's succeeding is based on my philosophy. All it does is provide value. There's no selling yet. Few people are trying to monetize their audience. It is purely an entertainment and value platform. So as of now, you have to be native to that. You have to provide that value. When I started on TikTok, I tell this to everyone, if you scroll down to the bottom of my profile, you're just going to see the same content I posted on Facebook and on LinkedIn and everywhere else.
It's going to be horizontal.
It's just horizontal. It had a title at the top, had a progress bar. And when we got on about 6 months ago, when we started to feel the momentum of it, that's all we did. We're like, okay, let's move some of that content over. And it all flopped, if we're going to use a TikTok term. None of it went through. So we kind of stalled. We did 18 videos. I told my team, make 18 videos today. We're going to post for the next 18 days. We're going to see what happens. All flopped. Then you can see on my timeline how we adapted. We now went into another phase. Again, a lot of the content from my other platforms. Then we went into another phase where I started to post just some more random stuff just to try to create and correct, as we call it, and experiment. And a video hit. There was one I did. I was copying.
The Toonie.
No, the Toonie's newer. The Toonie's a newer one. Okay. But The early on there was one video I did where I was duplicating something that someone did in the US. We were creating a duet for it, and essentially they were taking a Big Mac and they were putting it on top of their drink and just trying to it was like a food hack.
Yeah.
So I copied that for Tim Hortons, and I got 1,000 views. And originally I was getting 50 views, so that's no different than Facebook or LinkedIn or any of the other platforms I was on. So we weren't too excited. But then I got 1,000 views, and we said, okay, hold on, there's something going on here. And so we took a step back and we looked at it and we said, okay, so what I was posting before is not TikTok native. That is not going to work. So we started to just create and correct. We started creating as much content as we could. We did some funny things for us, some dumb things for us,
Yeah.
but we were trying what was native for the younger generation on TikTok. And then it just started to compound. And I did one, I was talking about, the one that first hit for me, got a couple 100,000 views, was one where I was talking about which cities in Canada, we're focusing on our niche first, so which cities in Canada were the top on TikTok. And I threw some papers.
Was it the gun one?
No, that was Yusuf GT that did that one. But I was just throwing papers early on. So I was throwing papers, and those papers would have different cities on it, and I was saying which ones they were on and which ones were the most popular, and it got a couple 100,000 views. Then we stopped everything. Then we just dead stopped, and we said, okay, we're putting way too much attention into the other saturated platforms right now. And you have to take stock of your resources. If you're out there and you're trying to build a brand, you're the same.
Yeah.
We only have a limited amount of resources. Every company does. Even the big ones, we have a limited amount of resources. And we know now that you need roughly one dedicated person per platform to make it succeed, to build native content, to do it right, to build that content, write the text strings, post it out, respond to everybody. You need one person per platform. That's why if you're one person, dedicate your time to one platform.
Yeah.
So we stopped with our team, we stopped the other platforms, and we put one person on TikTok full time. And we started producing 2, 3, 4 videos a day, every single time, learning and correcting.
Yeah.
But
TikTok is different. The way that people use TikTok, the way that it's different than Instagram in the sense that you don't necessarily follow your friends or your family.
No.
You know, the way that we use Facebook or Instagram, you know, it's very much the best content resides, right? The best content bubbles up.
Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily have to follow the people that you... So I think the following piece is not as important, which is good. And I think what I like about it is that the best content always rises up. And, that's why it's so addictive. I'm spending, if I look at the amount of time that I'm spending on social media platforms, now TikTok is number one.
Oh,
which is crazy.
We do social media for a living, and there is not a single platform we spend more time on than TikTok, and that is 100%. And we knew that's why I keep calling it. I think TikTok's gonna be the biggest platform in the world.
100%.
And when I called that, I put out a YouTube video about a month ago, and I basically set in stone, within the next 5 years, TikTok will be the biggest, if not sooner. And the reason we say
two,
as fast as we can, and it's scaling faster than any other platform ever, because social media, people that are already used to social media are just adapting it instantly. Because as soon as you're on it and you start watching the videos and you feel the virality nature and the entertainment value of it, you can't leave.
Totally.
And none of the other platforms are going to be scrambling to keep up, and they won't be able to, because unfortunately, text strings, written content, and graphics only tell 1,000 words. And these videos are telling 50, 60,000 words just by having 24 pictures per second in each video.
So, and are you seeing people? Are you seeing people or businesses that you're working with be like, yeah, well, maybe similar to the conversations that they had with Instagram many years ago?
They're not going to
TikTok. Talk TikTok. What do you want me to do with this?
Listen, the reason companies are hesitating, the reason they're hesitating is because they know for a fact, based on experience now, that TikTok is a branding platform. They can brand themselves, they can build an audience. And the problem with that term, build an audience brand, is it costs money and they don't see a direct ROI day one. Because they have to now commit to putting resources into a platform that they build an audience on for 2-3 years down the road. And unfortunately, in today's modern business world, people are still so short-sighted in the short-term sales cycles that they want to spend $1, make $1, spend $1, and they want to make $1.10. Like they want to keep improving that cycle. And when you want to build an audience in today's modern world, unfortunately, you have to build that audience. You have to create that equity and then never monetize that equity. That equity, the brand equity you build will monetize itself as people become ready for your product. So companies are just hesitant because they know that you can't monetize TikTok right now at the level that they want in comparison to buying a search engine ad, or where someone's searching already ready to buy that product. They search on Google, they find your ad, they come to your website, they contact you. They're putting their money there rather than thinking that that TikTok audience is going to convert 5 years from now. So there's a hesitation to jump headfirst in when really all they should be doing right now is hiring people to execute TikTok for them.
Yeah. But do you think that businesses will treat TikTok the same way they treat Instagram?
Yes, they'll make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
They're gonna go on the platform, they're gonna sell, they're going to talk about their products, they're not gonna talk about problems, they're not gonna talk about their story, and they're not gonna engage emotion in the audience. They're gonna do the same thing they do in all other platforms, and that's what we try to preach, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to present out value, which for us is 3 things.
Yeah.
Engage emotion, solve problems, and tell stories. Because can you imagine?
But the thing with TikTok, though, let's be honest. Right now, the way that it is, I'm not saying that it's not going to evolve. The way that it is right now, it's fun, it's stupid, it's random. It's like hot mom check.
Yeah.
That's what that's what it is. Like, so it's a different type of storytelling. It's not the way that traditional business think about it. But it's shorter storytelling. It's fun. I think you have to be native to that.
You have to be, and you have to.
And most businesses, if you're in the enterprise space and the way that B2B has traditionally been, and I'm not saying that's going to be like that in the future, the way that B2B has been very much guy in a suit with a tie, like shaking a hand. Here's the coffee. Like, let's make a deal. Like, that's how it's done, right?
But you have, like, let me give you an example, right? Like, any business can wait for the TikTok trends and execute them. So, for example, trending yesterday was #Canadian Eats. So think of the Canadian restaurant right now. Let's say Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
Okay? Spicy pierogi pizza. They have all the commercials. They got everything. Get on TikTok. Do a time lapse making a spicy pierogi pizza. Post it out and #Canadian Eats. Boom, they're on TikTok. And they're providing value out to the audience.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it yet. Right? And that's what confuses me, because these companies that have the resources are resisting the change. The same thing you talk about
100%.
On the stage. Why are they resisting the change? Well, it's just because of this red tape that comes into play, that they can't move fast enough when the new platforms come out. Now, they will catch up. When TikTok allows ads, they will pay for the ads, they will dump money into it, and they'll try to catch up to everyone else. But the reason TikTok's so exciting, the reason for you, the reason for anyone that's listening, is it could change your life tomorrow. You could post a video tomorrow, get 14 million views, have 200,000 followers, and your life has changed. And that brand equity you can't get anywhere else right now.
So we met a couple kids last week. We invited a couple kids out to our, we've never sort of experimented. We want to create more sort of commercialized TikToks just to see how it will work. Most kids right now are just using their phones. We think that there's a play at some point, just like how every platform has evolved, that it's going to be more. It might be more produced. We don't know, but it's like your stuff is a little bit more produced than most people, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of animation.
We're doing loops. We're doing animations.
Exactly.
We're trying to provide as much value and that production value out as possible.
So we're interviewing these kids right before we're getting to the TikToks and doing the TikToks, and it has already changed their lives. Kid's 17 years old. He brought his dad.
Yeah.
He's got a couple 100,000 of people following him.
Yeah.
People are already reaching out for brand deals. Like, girls are like blowing up his DMs. His dad is like, this is crazy. Like, this world is just starting for them. And it is going to be the next platforms. People's lives are going to change. And the beauty of TikTok is that you could put out one video and not have a following, have a 0 following. But if it's a beautiful piece of content, it could go crazy. And that's very different from, I think it's very different from Instagram. It's very different from Twitter. I mean, it can certainly happen, but those platforms are mostly about following. This is just about the content.
And it's just about the value. It's about the entertainment value. It's about making it exciting for everyone to watch. It's the viral nature of it. It will evolve. I said this the other day, and I said it will evolve to be a bit more like Instagram. It will. And Instagram will evolve to be a bit more like TikTok. But it's not going to go all the way. TikTok is short form videos. That means you're watching videos. You're seeing people's story. You're seeing the emotion. You're seeing what they're providing. It's funny. It's viral. It's exciting. When you scroll through your Instagram feed now, people don't even do that. They just go to stories. Right? When you're scrolling through stories, it's just, okay, great. This is what they're doing today. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, and it's just, when you're scrolling through TikTok, there's music. You're feeling, it's bumping. You're feeling the emotion of it, and you just can't stop scrolling.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. That's why part of the reason why I want to reach out to you. I know we've been trying to get on the pod, is that you are the team, the person that is leading TikTok in this city and maybe in Canada. I don't know if you know that.
Well, no, we
do you know anybody else in your ecosystem that is killing it?
Listen. We talk about it. We tell people about it. They're still resisting it, and we knew that we had to execute it and develop the team culture internally to be able to come up with these ideas and have this, because it's coming, right? So we know it's coming. We know we're getting ready for it. We have to stay at the leading edge of it. So we've developed our process like that. And for any of the companies out there trying to get going, for any kids trying to become influencers, anyone trying to get out their content or their message, the place you got to go is TikTok. Yeah. And the last thing, pass me that hat behind you there. There's a hat behind you.
Yeah.
Which I'll put on. Oh, that's okay. We're good.
Did you see that?
We're good.
I broke this already.
No, it doesn't. That light doesn't even work. So I'll explain this hat.
Yeah.
So this hat to us is legendary because
I've noticed that he's always wearing a hat, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's my thing. Yeah, okay. It's my brand. But this hat's legendary to us because this is the first video we've made that had over 1 million views. So this, and the funny thing about TikTok when you start is what you think is going to do well won't do well. What you just produce for the entertainment value you're producing, feeling good about what you're producing, will go. We've learned that since we've got going. And when I did this hat, I did it just over on the table in the kitchen in our office here. We just got it in the morning. I did a time lapse building this hat. And that first video got 2 million. It was the first video that we had that went viral. And it went viral on TikTok. We were excited about it. We've since reposted it once, close to 3 million views on this hat now. Sure, I wasn't in it, but at the end of the day, it was a representation of what I was creating, the creativity that I had that day, put some nice music to it, and went out.
So when do you think companies... Yeah, because are you...
When they realize that me sitting in the kitchen created 3 million views in the morning one day, and they just had to purchase 3 million views for $100,000 across platforms.
Yeah.
Right.
So when do you think will be the pivot point where companies will start to say, Jared, I need you, like I need a TikTok plan. Mm-hmm. We need to dive in, or maybe companies are starting to do that.
They're starting to. You see way more people on it now. So when we started, the only influencer really on TikTok was Howie Mandel. Now Will Smith's on it. Like
all the NBA teams are now on it.
Every single MLB team, every single NHL team, every sports franchise recognized that the future of their sports franchise is the kids growing up. Their future watchers are the kids. So they all adapted it immediately.
Yeah.
Now, companies that are selling to people outside of that 14 to 25 demographic aren't jumping in, but really these are their purchasers of their products tomorrow.
Yeah.
Start creating touch points with them now. Start getting exciting now. Start showing you're on the leading edge of that now. Secondly, where the kids go, the parents go. Where the parents go, the brands go.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not going to be long before TikTok is at scale. At that point in time, it's now the same. Now we're paying to play. It's like Instagram. It's like Facebook. So if there's anything that comes out of today's podcast, everyone out there recognize that you have to get on TikTok, start making content. Don't be afraid to pivot all of your resources from Instagram to TikTok.
Yeah,
which I think people
and that's crazy.
And that's crazy
because there's so many people that
Don't-
build their businesses on TikTok. You see all these influencers.
Yep.
They have the curated Instagrams that it all looks whitewashed.
Don't be if you're putting 80% of your resources, like the normal trend is to do, into Instagram, and you're an influencer and you've been struggling to make it. Do not be afraid to completely stop Instagram and go to TikTok. The reason is
I 100% agree, and that's why we're building experimental brand on TikTok.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm curious about that I haven't had access to, but I've reached out to TikTok, is getting access to their ad platform, because I think it's gonna be very different from Facebook.
They haven't responded yet, which tells me there's too much interest.
Well, there is. So somebody emailed me back, and you can tell that they're not very sophisticated on it. Obviously they're a Chinese company, and I think they're trying to figure it out too. Like, I'm like, hey, we want access to TikTok. We're gonna spend a lot of money on it. No response.
No, and the reason is it's the same as every other platform, right? The minute you start selling, you start losing. The reason TikTok is exploding, as I said it earlier, it's only value.
I'm not saying selling.
But as soon as they open up the ads, there's going to be more monetization of their feed, of the For You page.
But I've seen the ads on it, and for some reason, they're not native to the platform.
No, they're right now. If you look,
it's still horizontal.
Yeah.
It's a blue, like it's not native.
Yeah, so I don't think they're ready for it. I think it'll come, and I think there's a lot of businesses reaching out to be on it, but they're not. Listen, if you're reaching out to be on the ad platform of TikTok, then the best thing you can do right now is just start making content.
Yeah.
Right? Like, start going. Like, don't.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm excited to see where you guys go, because I think you guys have the two dangerous pieces within your business. Number one is that you guys are jumping on to the new platforms, dominating it, experimenting. You could tell you're focusing on young people, culture. You have Q, who's into hip hop. Like, you guys, I mean, there's so many pieces that relate to culture. Like, you guys are really at the intersection of technology, culture, and storytelling, which is, I think, where the future is. And I'm excited to see where you guys go. Now, I was going to ask you a question around this whole sort of brand content influencer game. Like, where do you think it's going? I mean, I have my own perspective on it,
right? You're in the grind now, the same as me. So it's, if I was to say where it's going, listen, at the end of the day, personal brands get more influence. They have more power than company brands just starting out. The reason is people trust influencers. They trust people more than they trust brands. Okay? So because of that, this personal brand philosophy has just taken off. Everyone's building personal brands. They're building brand equity around their name, which I recommend for everyone to do, specifically if they're putting out products or they're putting out their expertise related to them, something that they have their knowledge base on. And that's where it connects with people. People connect with people. That's not changed. If I'm selling a product today, I'm still selling it to another person. Even if it is through a computer, I'm still developing a relationship and selling to another person. And I think companies forget that.
Well, what I think is happening is that I totally agree with you. And I feel like what's happening today is that companies, I don't know if they're starting to realize that, but there are individuals that are disrupting industries or changing it, like sectors that they're in. Individuals are, not companies.
Yeah.
Individuals are. I'm talking about, let me give you examples. Lil Nas X coming out of nowhere as an individual, buys a beat for $30 off a platform where they sell beats. He's experimenting with different types of music. His music pops off on TikTok.
Yep.
Now he has the #1 longest running hit on the planet ever. One individual doing that.
Yep.
You have people like Jessica Yellen. She uses Instagram to talk about politics. That's one person. She's a one-person media company. I mean, you look at celebrities on the celebrity level. Of course, Kylie Jenner's one. She's built a $1 billion business off of it. You look at people like Joe Rogan. Like, of course, he's got they all have teams.
Yeah.
They're one person. He's getting paid, $75,000 an episode. He's a media company. Mm-hmm. He is bigger than the Edmonton Journal or do you know what I mean?
His brand. You look at like Drake. Drake has a bigger brand equity than most banks.
This is I was talking about this to the financial services guys, is that you're seeing individuals become their own brands, their own media companies, their own e-commerce companies, and I mean the hot take was that maybe one day they might be a financial services company because they have what I call very simply eyeballs, hearts, and in that case they need a wallet, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of these lot of individuals have hearts and eyeballs, and this is, that's trust.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The best way I can explain it is, I think if you go to, let's say you go to George Clooney tequila, or you go to a lot of Wayne Gretzky wine, right?
Yep.
They take their personal brand equity and then they translate and they monetize it. And a lot of those people that have created so much brand equity throughout their life for their personal brand are bigger than some of the biggest companies out there. They get more attention. They get more views. I mean, we're not going to talk politics on the show, but Donald Trump gets a
100%.
lot of... Donald Trump gets the attention, he gets the views, right? So at the end of the day, people right now are trying to get the attention. Companies need to get the attention wherever it's cheapest. And that doesn't matter if it's TikTok. It doesn't matter if you can do a Facebook ad. It doesn't matter if all of the online prices come up and the cheapest attention is buying the billboard on the side of the road now because nobody's buying billboards.
100%.
At the end of the day, you're buying attention. You're buying it at a level where your company is seen by the most people. You create a cycle, touch point cycle, we call it. Get all these subconscious touch points. Then when the timing's right, when the customer is ready to buy your product, they enter into that cycle.
And so, because you guys are in the game of helping businesses with this, is it because are you seeing companies realize it, that the individuals are becoming more important than the company brands?
Let's say some are. So what's a good example? Good examples. Let's say you're talking about the financial industry. You're talking about they don't execute it fully yet, but the two top companies that I can say, let's say ATB talks about story. They talk about story. They talk about advisors. They talk about your story. They connect it. And something online now that's coming out like Wealth Simple with some of their commercials, the attention they buy is heavily story based.
Yeah.
Okay? So they're entering and they're starting to see that space. But the bigger companies, the CIBC, the RBC, all of the bigger banks don't see that yet. They have all of the resources, but they're not changing their story to build the story. Mm-hmm. CIBC is not putting out a commercial about how CIBC started, how it's developed in the community, how it makes a difference in people's lives. They're still got a penguin on their commercial, right? So there's this disconnect that the big companies are not seeing, that they need to separate company and start saying, we have a ton of advisors, our advisors have stories, our advisors are going to be able to connect with you and humanize the company. And it's going to take a while yet. It will happen, it'll shift, but it'll always shift for the biggest companies. They take the longest time to change.
Yeah.
So the disruptors will do it from day one. The companies will take a little while, and then they're going to dump money into it to try to catch up.
What I find is interesting is that within organizations, you have individuals that are becoming stars themselves.
Yeah.
And, I think there's some companies, for example, like Peloton,
yeah,
where they have basically created stars within their platform that...
Yeah. All the trainers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're becoming celebrities themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing with other traditional organizations, I think it pays to actually have stars within your house. I mean, you're creating a shop where you have stars. You have guys like Q. I mean, he's got his own podcast.
Got out. Everyone's
Yusuf. I mean, you have guys that are stars, right?
And we support that, right? Because we know that.
But a lot of organizations wouldn't do that. Like they see their talent as you should be supporting the company. Your efforts should be all towards the company brand. That's a big shift for companies to think about their talent as stars, because the traditional industrial age model is you work for the company and your sweat equity doesn't go towards you, but it goes towards the company.
What was that one video that I saw of you? It was on LinkedIn. It was you talking about the culture of hiring now. I believe it was you were talking about.
Well, you probably talking about the hypocrisy of onboarding.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. So people come in and you give them the old-fashioned manual. You put it on the table. They read it, and then you try to indoctrinate them into your company culture.
Totally. Well,
and you cut the creativity.
Well, the thing is that the hypocrisy is that, you know, we all hire all these like smart, ambitious, and talented individuals, and we hire them for their innovation, and then we bring them into an organization, and then we literally ingrain it in their DNA of this is how things are done. And so literally in the first week alone, we suck out all the creativity from them. And so that, I think that hypocrisy of onboarding is that what we should be doing in onboarding is stepping back, them sort of assessing the situation, going through the process of what we're doing, and then asking them, like, what are we doing wrong?
100%.
Right? Because what's going to happen the second week, they're going to come back to the organization and they're going to be like, well, you know, I heard you guys I've seen you guys did these things in a poor form or whatever. And they'll come back with more ideas. And the second week, they'll come back with more ideas. And now you're going to start to build a culture of innovation.
And I think, well, I agree with you 100%. And I think there's certain processes that every company needs. Obviously, there's certain processes in place that are going to lead to the productivity of your design and your service. However, as a company, when you start, yes, as myself, I need to understand every aspect of my business. Afterwards, it's my job as a leader to allow everyone to teach me about their specific niche. I'm hiring employees to bring their creativity and their expertise to the company, not to tell them what to do.
Exactly.
They need to be telling me what to do so that we all learn together and all increase and improve together. And I think it takes a while. I mean, at the end of the day, the big engines, the red tape in a lot of these companies bog down that productive level. Yes, there has to be procedures, but at the end of the day, you're hiring people for their expertise, for their creativity, and you have to allow that to flourish. However, you make that happen when you create and correct in your agency.
I think, and that's hard to do. I think it's a new way of looking at your organization. Traditionally, we look at talent as a number, but today we have to look at talent as the rock stars.
Yep. Right?
And it's the different way of treating our talent. You know, we are going through a fundamental shift of how we look at organizations and talent over the next 10 years. And it's partly because of technology, it's partly due to media, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and I think everyone, the people that are on social now, the people that are listening to Gary Vee, the people that are out there listening to their influencers out there and seeing what's working, the one thing I'll say is you have to, once you're in the zone, you have to keep creating and correcting. We've learned that it doesn't matter what you listen to, when you get into your situation, make a choice, pivot, and then create and correct. Keep continually improving down that process. Then at the end of the game, every business in the world is in the business of continual improvement.
Totally.
And the minute that you stop improving, the minute that you stop innovating, somebody else is going to disrupt your industry.
100%.
Retail right now is at that point in time. The food industry just got disrupted by Skip the Dishes, right? All these, now they're giving up a margin to another company. The same thing that happened with hotels when they gave up a margin to Expedia.
Yeah.
Now all the hotels are trying to take that margin back from Expedia. And the restaurants are going to do the same. They're going to say, okay, hold on. Why are we paying everything to our delivery companies?
Well,
Let's pull it back. Disruption.
And I think restaurants are trying to, you know, you talk about restaurants. I wouldn't say that restaurants are, you know, they've been disrupted by Skip the Dishes. I think they're now starting to realize that they're not making money off Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats, and they're coming up with different ways of getting their food to the. The problem is that, you know, you talk about food and then hotels, is that when it comes to food, the way that people, they think about food now, they say, I'm hungry. So they pull out their phone and then they're seeing what's available.
Instant.
Exactly.
Instant feedback to the purchase. That's what I keep saying. The minute I can order something on Amazon and that drone carries it to me within an hour, instant feedback to the purchase. Now retail is in trouble. Because right now, 2 days still separates me from that purchase.
Yeah.
So going to the store will still give me instant feedback to what I'm purchasing. There's still value in going to the store. But the minute that gap closes from 2 days with Amazon Prime to 1 hour, now it's not worth me getting in my car, driving an hour to the mall, when I can just go on Amazon, it flies to my house, I try on the shirt, it fits, great. It doesn't, try it, put it back in the box, drone picks it up, takes it back to Amazon. It will disrupt the retail industry. Retail is next. So retail has to find a way to provide value, build an audience, because if you don't have an audience, you don't have a brand, you're toast.
Well, I mean, speed is one thing. You're talking about speed and convenience. The other piece, the other lens to that is, retail has to really focus on experience.
Yeah.
Right? And fundamentally changing what that experience looks like when people go into the stores. Because I do feel that there are certain aspects of retail. I mean, we could talk about fashion as being one of them. It's still. I mean, obviously, online has gone insane. But there's still an element of some people, wanting to touch and feel and wear and try on things at a store.
Agree.
And
100% agree.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they're going. So the example I use there is movie theaters. So when Blockbuster went down, everyone said movie theaters was next. They said, how is movie theaters going to compete when Netflix came out? When is the movie theaters going to? At the end of the day, the movie theater provides something you can't get at home at
100%.
Netflix. There's an experience of going out with friends, going to the movie, experiencing on the big screen, experiencing 3D, feeling like you're part of that movie and the story of that movie. So Cineplex and the movie theaters aren't going anywhere. They provide an experience, they provide value that's nowhere else. They're going to continue to evolve that into VR, into 4D I saw, that's coming to Edmonton soon. They're going to continue to evolve and keep ahead of the curve. And that's why movie theaters aren't going anywhere. Retail has to do the same thing.
Yeah, it either has to go on the commodity end, which is around speed and convenience, or it has to provide a fundamentally different experience than anybody else. And so I think those are the sort of the at least two lenses that we can look at it.
Yeah, 100%. We got so there you go. We got Skip the Dishes coming right in.
Skip the dishes.
Right into the office as we talk about it. Right?
Well, let me tell you, it's funny. Like I was talking to a restaurateur here in Edmonton, and he was like I eliminated Skip the Dishes from my company, from my restaurant, because I just realized that I'm not making any margin off it. It actually pays better to have my staff deliver the food on their off hours than me doing this. And there's going to be something happening here, because I feel like the we haven't figured out the economics of delivery. Yeah. Delivery is still very expensive. And this is why Uber is losing a lot of money.
Yep.
I'm bullish on Uber still. I mean, a lot of people are down on Uber. I'm still bullish on Uber. But the economics of Skip, I'd like to know what's happening there too. I don't know if they're.
Really... Is it public yet? I haven't looked that up either. Not. Yeah. The thing with Skip that's so interesting, like I said, is it provides that instantaneous feedback to when you purchase it. It comes really quickly. It's just like Uber. It has cart disruption, but if we're talking about low price attention that we talked about earlier. If you're in the food industry and you're worrying about Skip coming out and you're losing the experience, people are ordering your food to home, you're losing that margin, all you need to do is double down on your influencer program. Because at the end of the day, most local restaurants have a sphere of influence. Now, how do we increase that sphere? How do we have more touch points with the people within our sphere? Find 200, 300 influencers that come in and post an Instagram story, do a TikTok video in our restaurant every single week. And we just give them a discount for food. It doesn't even cost you anything. Yeah. All it does is it costs you a little bit of margin. The same margin you give to Skip. And you get 200 influencers that come in every week. What happens? Every single one of those influencers has 500 friends on Instagram, has a couple followers on TikTok, has their Facebook friends. All of them within that same sphere. Now, that restaurant cements its brand within that community. We see so many restaurants going out and buying ads and doing all this stuff when all they need to do is go to the lowest price attention they can get, which is free, just costs them a little bit of margin, and double down on their influencer programs. And even worse, we see restaurants go into an influencer program. We see anyone in the food industry go into this influencer program, start putting it into effect, and then they say, we didn't see any ROI, so we're cutting you off.
Yeah.
When they should be doubling down, tripling down, 100 times and down on that program itself. Build yourself within your sphere first. Then that audience will continue to grow. It's tough.
It's a great recommendation to restaurants, for sure.
At the end of the day, it's tough because all of these things that we're talking about, whether it's TikTok or influencer program, they all take resources, and they're all different than the old way to do it.
Yep.
Which comes back to the change you talk about.
And that is probably the toughest part. It's very different from how they've traditionally learned how to do it. I mean, most people are getting onto Instagram now. They're trying to figure it out now, right? And it's always changing. And I think the skill set that individuals and organizations will need in the future is this ability to learn quickly, experiment quickly with not only just social media, but with other technologies coming out. And the ones that experiment quickly and learn quickly will be the ones that will win, and it's constant. You're never going to stop. And that's why even for myself, like I'm a practitioner too. Like I'm always trying new things. I'm on product hunt every single day, just trying out the new stuff that people are coming out with, just testing, like just getting my feet wet. I'm going to Crunchbase. I mostly just product hunt, just trying new stuff all the time. Like I'm not in the social media world. Like that's not what I talk about. I don't talk about. That's your world. You're the expert. I don't talk about that at all. But I'm still in the business of attention, and so of course I want to be a practitioner in it. So, and new technologies.
Let me turn it over to you now. So give us some dirt. Your speeches when you go on stage. What I love is you're telling stories, right? Where you're executing so well as you tell stories. That's the reason that I watch your LinkedIn videos every time they come out.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So listen, and that's what we're talking about. Getting touch points when you don't even know you're getting touch points. And so give us some dirt. What do you got coming up? What are the stories that you are working on for the next couple events? What are you working on? That's kind of that next thing, that next topic.
I think the next topic, the next revolution over the next 10 years is going to be no code. For the last 10 years, the people that have won are the engineers, the 1%, the people that can code, the nerds and the guys in the basement who haven't gotten laid yet. Like, those are the guys who've won. In the next 10 years, I think you're already seeing it, that technology is becoming a commodity.
Yep.
It's being democratized. Everyone is being able to build on top of these existing technologies through APIs and tools and like hosting infrastructure is there. You need a website, it's there. You need e-commerce, it's there. Everything is there. And so the next revolution is you're seeing organizations build on top of those technologies. And so you're seeing all the guys that didn't get into any of this technology stuff, they didn't know how to like code an app or do a website. Those people are now going to be at an advantage because they're going to go back to the things that they probably started business with relationship, trust, brand. This is why what you do is so much more important now than ever before, because I believe when technology is a commodity, the thing that is the most important is brand equity.
The only thing you have left is brand equity.
100%.
Right.
So it's going to be a beautiful time. So I think this is what we're seeing in the future. Of course, the other piece that I'm really interested in is voice, artificial intelligence. We have a company that is replacing language evaluators, getting into the AI voice space. That's really exciting.
Why voice? Why is voice so exciting for you? Because we hear a lot of people talk about voice, and I get where it's going, but why is voice so exciting? Because is it the same thing I said earlier with the feedback? It's instant feedback. It's quicker than us typing on our phones. Because originally, we used to have to write. Then we went to a keyboard, got a little faster. Then after we went to a keyboard, now we're on our phones. When phones came out, T4 a little slower. Then we got into iPhones, now we're typing a little faster. 2 thumbs going, and we can autocorrect words right away. Next, voice, even quicker.
It's not even the quickness. It's definitely quicker. The reason why it is so revolutionary, the reason why it's going to be one of the biggest disruptive technologies is the adoption, which is zero. You look at, you have kids?
Not yet.
Okay, so I have 2. My oldest is 3 years old. She can barely put phrases together, but she's already telling Alexa and Google to get stuff done for her. There is no barrier to entry. That you don't have to know how to type. You don't even know how to write anything. You just need to be able to speak it. That is a huge disruptor because somebody who doesn't have any technology skills can come into it and do stuff. You look at my mother, she's 70 years old, she missed the internet revolution, she missed the mobile revolution, she can barely, she's just figuring out Facebook.
Yeah.
She's an immigrant, she's using voice 100 times a day. You see 2 people in my life that have zero technology experience and they're using these platforms. And so that is the disruptor. And if you take this idea and you apply it to business, B2B, if you walk into any single business, what are people doing? they're on the computer, they're copying, pasting, they're transferring data into systems, they're entering things into Excel, they're retrieving information, putting in information. That's what business is now. People on the computers.
Mm-hmm.
The promise of voice is that you can pull information or you can enter information seamlessly without touching anything, so that you can actually go back to what we are designed to do as human beings, which is communicate, be creative, build things. Like that's what we're supposed to do, not spend all day long inputting, retrieving information. This is the promise of voice.
And it'll strengthen our relationship with technology in the end. Where, like you said, you're going to be able to go in the office and you're going to be able to talk to your computer. It's going to do it for you. Then you're going to be able to go build those relationships.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to do everything manually like we do now. How close is that, though? How close? Because at the end of the day, I still think that
we're getting close.
I think it's close. I still think most people will embellish those numbers. I still think we're 15, 20 years away from some of those fully automated processes.
So let me tell you the $1 trillion opportunity.
All right.
Okay? The trillion, not even $billion, the $1 trillion opportunity. One of the biggest like B2B companies are companies like AWS, but more systems, SAP, Oracle, Workday, ServiceNow, Salesforce. These are massive B2B companies providing, enterprise level software. They're very complicated systems. It takes, for big companies, takes hundreds of millions of dollars to implement these things. The $1 trillion opportunity is an enterprise business implements a voice-enabled artificial intelligence technology where you can do analysis simply by voice and say, hey, Alexa, get me my 3-year financial statements, and it just does it for you. That instead of having hundreds of people and the system calculate
magical.
all that.
It'd be magical.
And it's not out of the realm that's going to happen. You're seeing advancements in AI. You're seeing quantum sort of come at us. It's not out of the realm. That will be the $1 trillion opportunity. There will be a company that does that and simplifies that whole process because it's very complicated. It's very expensive, and this is why consultancies have built multi-billion-dollar businesses on the backs of being system integrators with some of these softwares. And that's going to be a huge opportunity.
I'm excited for it. I think that's going to be magical. I think it's, like I said, I still think that's 10 to 20 away rather than some of the embellishments that you hear. But at the end of the day, it's coming. And you have to get ready for it.
I think it's closer than things like autonomous vehicles. I think some of the basic...
But the autonomous, it's exactly what we said earlier. Autonomous vehicles are there.
Did we talk about this?
No, we haven't yet. But we talked about people unwilling to change.
Yeah.
Right? So autonomous vehicles are there. It's just people are not willing to trust the autonomous vehicle yet.
It's not there yet. It's close. It's very, very close. The policies, the regulations, there's lots of pieces around it. But yeah, human beings are not. You ask most people, they probably won't get in an autonomous vehicle today. No. There's still some barriers around it. But we are going to get there, and I think we're going to get there faster than most people think. The revolution of going from the horse and buggy to cars was actually very quick. It was within a decade. And so I think we might see the same thing with autonomous. And to be honest with you, I can't wait.
Horse and buggy, I like that. That's one we got to use. Horse and buggy to cars within a decade. It's true, though.
Yeah.
It was adopted almost instantaneously. So I've never heard that used in an example before, but I love it. Because it simplifies the fact that things can get changed and disrupted very quickly.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the phone, how it's disrupted, media, and you're running a social media company. It's crazy that you wouldn't have done this 10, 15 years ago.
No, and not only that, we're late to the game too, right? Like the companies that started with that. In the 2000s when the web boom was out, right? When everyone was rushing in and the coding that you talked about was happening, that's gonna go away eventually. Those people were the early adopters. Now all of us media companies are recognizing that brand's the last thing left. And now we have to understand and create and correct until we fully understand how that brand gets developed for this next generation of companies that are growing. So again, it's just about adapting, constantly creating and correcting, finding ways to recognize. And you touch on something. One of the things I love about your speeches when you're on stage is you're talking about the future. You're not talking about the short term, 2 months, 3 months from now. You're looking 5 years out.
Yeah.
You're looking 10 years out. And I think a lot of people, yes, you still have to live day to day, but a lot of the technologies and where your business is going to go, you got to start looking 3-5 years out to start to understand the moves you need to make now to get there. And if that's brand, then execute brand. If that's automation, then execute automation. Whatever that is, execute it. And
well, and the challenge around that is that it's tough to predict the future. I can't. Yeah. I'm not a futurist either. I can't predict what the future is, but it's important to think about it because otherwise, if you don't, you're not going to be able. You're going to get into a mold where you're planning for a world that was, existed 5 years ago. So it's important to think about it, but it's also important to be a practitioner today and continuously experiment with new technologies and new ways of doing things today. I think that's important.
I love it. What else we got?
Well, I wanted to know from you, what do you think is the next wave of innovation? Like, what do you see really exciting over the next 5 years that people are not expecting?
For me...
Doesn't have to be from a technology perspective. Yeah. If it could be from media or culture.
Well, no, if I was to say it, I think I personally, and this is a hope strategy as well as I think that we're going to get to the moon and Mars faster than people think. I really do. I've been watching it carefully the last little while, and I think we're going to get there faster. I can't wait. I keep telling people all the time that the minute that it's commercialized and economical enough to get into space, I think I'm jumping on that. I'm jumping on that rocket, and I think it's.
You're out of here, man.
I'm not out of here, but I want to have that experience.
Yeah.
I want to have that experience of seeing our world in a different light, and that experience for more people is what's going to change the perspective of our planet. And I think that the faster we can get there, the faster we can change that perspective, the better.
But why do we need to go to the moon and Mars?
Why not? Right? It's the same thing. If you ask why, when we're on a company standpoint, you're looking at your continual improvement. You're going to stay here, right? What we want to do is we want to keep improving. Why not? The question is why do we want?
But what if we go there and we
It's not going to be fun. It's the first until we. It's not going to be fun, okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, but
I see a lot of these guys, Branson and Bezos, and all these guys talking about the moon and Mars. I'm like,
at the end of the day, I just think.
What about things here?
No, I don't dispute that. There's lots of things that we need to solve here. There's no dispute of that. There's no point in us getting into the political or geopolitical debate of that. But what I do believe is I believe that going to space is going to change perspectives. And once we can change that perspective and we see what's out there and we look back at the Earth, we're going to see it in a different way. Think of this. When you watch a video, when you see a good picture, it's never as good as that moment when you saw that sunset. You look at the sunset, you're standing there on a beach. It's amazing. You take a picture. We just pull out our phones. We take a picture. We post it on Instagram. But that picture never represents what we saw in that sunset.
Right.
When we go to space, it will not even be close to what we see in the pictures, even though they're already spectacular. And it'll change the perspective of people. I imagine people going into space and just starting to cry. And I just believe that because it's going to change the perspective of who we are, where we are, and where we're going to end up going, which is hopefully to continually improve. And I don't want to go further into that, but I think we're going to get, just like you said, with autonomous driving and no code and everything else where we're moving, and voice, I think we're going to get to the moon faster than people think. I hope so.
Well, you're seeing a lot of people sort of work on that initiative. I personally don't know what the rush is all about, but maybe they just want to get the hell off because this world is becoming unsustainable, and so we need to get off.
No, I think we can all believe in humanity. I think we can all trust in our ability to solve problems, but let's change the perspective a bit. That's going to be exciting. I want to go. I want to really go see this Earth from space, and we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, you can't predict the future, so let's just sit back and see what some of those big companies can produce. Right?
I totally agree.
Shawn, this has been a blast.
I appreciate it, man. This has been a lot of fun talking with the expert in Canada when it comes to TikTok.
Well, we're talking.
and content media.
We're talking to you, man. You're crushing it on stage out of Edmonton, Alberta, which is a feat in itself. So keep making that content. Keep making that content.
Well, it's
keep
funny.
pushing it out. Get on TikTok. It's going to be exciting.
The content for me has been, LinkedIn has been an amazing platform for me. I was like emailing LinkedIn like almost every couple months over the last like 2, 3, 4 years. I'm like, when are you guys getting native video? When are you guys getting native video? And to me, as soon as it came out, I'm like, okay, I gotta jump on board. And nothing has been a moonshot for me. Like, it's always just been consistent. I'm going to play this game for the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And then, see when it pops. Like, I don't know when it's going to pop.
But that's the grind. And for everyone out there, recognize that both me and you, when we post to YouTube, we're still at the 20 view mark.
Yeah.
But the point is we keep producing the content consistently. That's the difference. There's no giving up on it.
Totally.
There's no sitting down and saying, man, I'm doing all these, we're not giving up on it. You do LinkedIn, you do it for 5, 10, 15 years. You build your brand, you build your brand equity. Those touch points are going to pay off in the end. And there's nothing else to say about it.
And the beautiful thing that we're doing is twofold. Number one is that, we're putting our ideas out there. People are connecting with us in a way that, if they want to know who we are, they can go on YouTube or LinkedIn or any other platform and really get a sense of who we are. And number two, which is really cool, is that, eventually our kids and our grandkids and whatnot, they're going to be looking at this content and seeing how, their grandfather was at a certain age. I think that's pretty wild.
It's pretty crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, the content's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. And it's going to show how we growed up. It's going to show how we developed. And I can see it just from when I started content a year and a half ago to now. It's night and day.
Yeah.
Now, you look at some of the top influencers out there, we're not even there yet. But we know that we're in this grind and we're going to go after it. We're going to keep making content, keep improving. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Right?
Totally.
There's nothing else to it. Just go out there and do your best.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. I've been waiting to be on Talk to JV for my entire life, and we're here. We made it.
I don't think he was waiting his entire life, but we'll leave it there.
Thank you, my man.
Thanks, Shawn.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for coming out.
There you go, man.
Well done.
Well,
I
gotta show you this. I gotta show you this. You can keep it rolling. So we got these kids, and
some TikTokers.
Some TikTok kids, man. I'd love to invite you guys out too when we're shooting. Like, so this is one of the pieces that we made. That.
Really sick.
So this kid, he's got maybe like 40,000. This kid has about 100,000. We're still trying to figure out the keys to it, but
yeah. So the keys to TikTok when you're making TikTok videos, anything that's grainy, anything that's low quality doesn't go.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what's funny is that like I find like some of the okay, I'll show you my TikTok.
Yeah.
I just
quality. So when you talk about AI algorithm, whatever they're using, at the end of the day, quality and authenticity is a huge factor.
Yeah.
It's a huge factor because if you do anything that's not native to the platform, it doesn't go.
Totally. Like for example, like like we're using a HD camera for this, but for some reason
that one wasn't native.
Well, this that's not native. Yeah. All this other stuff is native. Yeah. But we're not jumping on any trends here. The thing is that if I look at most videos, it's actually really clear. It's clearer. The phone camera is almost clearer.
Yeah,
than our cameras.
So what we find is, so we're dealing with it now in the office because if we shoot on one of the DSLRs and then edit it, when we run it through After Effects and Premiere and then post it, the quality comes down and we notice they don't go. They don't do anything compared to the ones that are crisp. So we're really focused now on how to natively upload to the platform and make it crisp. And A iPhone 11 camera for the average person is going to produce the best TikTok content right now.
That's crazy.
Because at the end of the day, it's got the best camera. It's going in native. You're doing it right on TikTok, and you can hit the trends. Where you can't go is it's hard to animate. Like obviously you're using some of the AR filters on TikTok, but at the end of the day, if you want to take it up a notch, you're going to have to pull it out of TikTok, and then take it into Premiere and After Effects. So. The content you just showed me is great. Now it's just a matter of hitting trends, being native. For anyone out there, if this video gets out, is if you go through the For You page and you see 2 videos before it's even trending, if you see 2 of the same videos, execute it, because that's going to be a trend.
Yeah.
Foresee it. Don't sit back and wait till it's a trend that day, because it's already too late.
Yeah.
If you see 2 videos on the For You page, you execute it, but you have to execute it immediately.
But I also think what's cool about TikTok is when you create the trend. Right?
Yeah, but with creating a trend, when you're creating the trend, so the only person we have seen that have created a trend is JT Laybourne. Otherwise, every other person, whether it was Minecrafter that does dancing and did the spooky dance, like there's a whole bunch of people out there that made a trend. It is about creating a huge volume of content. And then it's not getting lucky, but it's making really high quality content, a lot of it, and starting with a whole bunch of original ideas, which means you're going for numbers. Otherwise you're kind of relying on the luck. And some people, what JT did is he has people sending him hats and then he hides the hat. So what he did is it took him probably 50 videos to organically create a trend. He always has hats. He was starting to hide them within his state. Then people started to engage with it. Now he's like, listen, let's spread some smiles, send me some hats, I'll hide them. Tell me where you're from, all this stuff. They're sending letters, he sent to a PO box. He created a trend out of nothing by just putting out content after content after content and building that brand for himself. And we saw that and we respect that. And now I think now if you want to create a trend, you're going to have to come up with an idea, original, go 50 videos in a row, make it your brand around that trend until it takes off. Or a flood of original content. Original, no one else has done it, goes out. And you're hoping that one of them gets that high quality score where it just takes off.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's definitely more. You can definitely get more benefit if you're the first one to create them.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that people are basically like TikTok is basically just like a meme factory, right? Somebody creates like, hey yo, and
then that becomes a trend.
Check,
yeah,
and it's like that becomes a trend.
Yeah.
It becomes a meme.
Yeah,
anything like, hey yo, like rich boy check. Here's the meme.
Here's the other thing about TikTok. Any of the trends, whether it was the Get Up this year, you talk about Little Nas X, whether it was the Get Up, whether it was the Bottle Cap Challenge. Every time you saw it on Instagram and Facebook, people would come to me and be like, yo, check out this trend. I'm like, yo, that was 3 months ago on TikTok, dude. Like everything.
It's almost like Reddit, because Reddit was also
where it was manifested.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and TikTok is where the trends are manifesting.
Yeah, TikTok is the viral factory right now. Anything that happens that's a trend starts on TikTok. And when you know that it's starting there, where that's the origin of the content, you know it's going to be the biggest.
Yeah.
You can just compound backwards and say, if that's starting there, and if that's where all the eyes are going, people are going to go to TikTok. And like you said, it's addictive. So
crazy, man. It's a crazy world.
It's crazy. So and it's only video, which is even better.
Totally.
Because there's really, at the end of the day, there's still no barriers to entry to video. We all have video on our phone. Right? So there's no barriers to entry to going and creating that video and creating that content. Now people just have to be comfortable with it. We did. Me and Yusuf were running around and we were doing videos. We were doing 4 to 5 videos a day. We've done 300 videos in the last 2 months to get this going. 300.
That's crazy.
Right? Like we were trying everything, but every time we were learning from our mistakes.
Totally.
Post a grainy video, doesn't go. Post a good video, it goes. Boom. Now we know. So when you start, recognize that this is you got to go at it. And that's why kids do so well on TikTok, because if you're in university, they're just trying shit and they have the time. Right? They have the time, and their time is their resource. So they can think about it, they can go execute it, and they can post a video a day. Now, for us to keep up with that, we have to create videos. So we're using animations. We're putting out tutorials. We're trying everything. One mistake I'm still making is I haven't found the niche yet, like some other people. So when someone finds their brand and their niche, they then execute just video after video after video in their niche, and they compound interest the followers within that niche. Well, we're still in the phase where we're testing. Yes, there's a niche.
But
yes, they're animated.
Do you go to the following section? I don't. I just go to the For You.
Everyone goes For You. I think following, there is some people that go to following.
Like, I follow people. I
Yeah.
follow, Gary, and I
Yeah.
follow the NBA. Like, I'm big into basketball,
Yeah.
so I follow on the NBA. But I never go to that section.
No,
I
it's-
always go to the section of people that are
It's new.
all the content.
But that's what you said earlier. The cream is going to rise to the top, right? Like the best content, the most value, the most entertainment value is going to go to the top, and that's why it keeps cycling, and that's why it's our job to create volume. When we look back at the
isn't it to create quality
like volume? Listen, again, I told you already. An iPhone 11 will produce really crisp TikTok content. Now you're creating volume. Listen, from what I can see, there's no significant deranking on TikTok yet compared to the other platforms when you post too much.
Yeah.
And you're deranking yourself with links. You're doing all that other stuff. On TikTok right now, it's uber organic. So create volume, but also make sure it's crisp. We're trying. But we have slowed down to...
So when do you think a company will come to you and be like, hey, like, I create this TikTok plan for us?
No, because I think what's going to happen, to be real, I think companies are going to try to execute it themselves first. They're going to try to execute it themselves and then realize they can't. Then they're going to come out and they're going to start having discussions about how they can execute it with people that are only TikTok specific, which really for us right now, we execute the other platforms, but even my other platforms are just my YouTube content now put onto Facebook and LinkedIn and elsewhere. My focus is YouTube and TikTok. YouTube is a search engine. So for myself, the content we can create, the value I can provide with some marketing knowledge, YouTube is the platform. Now it's about us making the volume and starting to create and correct to do well there. So we focus on YouTube and TikTok right now. Both video only platforms. And then Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, get my feeder content, get some promo videos, get some cuts from the pillar content.
See, my platform is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then my sort of like, dump away is Facebook, which is like organic is shit.
Mm-hmm.
On like it's dead on. I don't post on Insta. I just find that I don't know.
But it's the same, right? It's at scale.
Yeah,
so
YouTube. YouTube is kind of like a throwaway. To me, it's a throwaway because I haven't posted native YouTube. I feel like now YouTube is like more long form.
YouTube will
content.
be good for you though when you start to want more as a speaker, as a keynote speaker. Your full form keynote speeches on YouTube will eventually translate into the brand of people calling you from around the world. Whether you're going through your agent or elsewhere, they're going to share your YouTube videos as your content. LinkedIn is where you build your audience. So 80% of your time goes into LinkedIn. Definitely. You build your audience, then you transfer that brand equity to your YouTube eventually. You transfer it to your Instagram eventually. But if you're for me, I'm going to build my TikTok and then transfer the brand equity to YouTube, to Instagram, which are available to be noted on your TikTok profile. They're the two platforms that you can link to.
Exactly.
So mine will be my audience. We're focusing on TikTok. For you, yours is LinkedIn. But YouTube will also be a fantastic brand equity piece for you to pitch out for your speaking gigs.
Well, I know that's how. That's definitely how people sort of like. Okay, they from a speaking perspective, like, okay, so what is this guy all about?
Yeah.
They'll jump onto YouTube. They'll take a look at videos, and I have hundreds of videos there they can look at. I just haven't optimized it just because I don't know. You're like you said, like it's tough, right? Like just. I have somebody right now just doing TikTok video, like creating a whole bunch of TikTok videos. Not for myself, but
for the branding. We do a YouTube video a day and a TikTok video a day. Everything else for me is subsidiary to those pillar contents.
Yeah.
So it's now a matter of that's where our focus is. That's where my resources go for my brand equity. Now clients have to decide for each of them, and that's where we have that discussion. Which platforms are their resources going to be best put towards to build up that audience where we can transfer that brand equity over time? Because at the end of the day, we're looking for greatest attention for that brand. That's going to be an audience that they're going to be able to stick with and have that equity that's going to grow.
You know what's funny is like I want to like, yeah, the TikTok thing for me is, you know, I'm still trying to figure out like how do I like what is my game going to be on TikTok. I'd rather take a more of like a Will Smith approach where, you know, he's trying cool shit in a production level. Because
it's tough though, because what we found with that is you can't produce the volume when you don't have brand equity going in. So for example,
what do you mean?
if you took 10,000 followers on LinkedIn and 5,000 of those followed you on TikTok.
There's no way that would ever happen.
No, but I'm just saying, right? Like, it's
I think
no
one
chance.
might follow me, yeah.
No chance. But if that happened, if you had, let's take it up a notch. Take Will Smith, 70 million on Facebook. So now on TikTok, he's just exploding because people are going from all his other platforms and going to TikTok. People know him, so he can now create those production level at the highest level to execute and post one every 2 days, one a day, at the level that then explodes with his brand equity that's built. When you don't, for myself, if I posted only, so for example, my big ones are the hat, the Steal the Sun. I have a Steal the Sun one that did well. I have the Toonie. I have the escalator one, which is my biggest video. If I only did those production level videos that did well, okay, I just can't produce enough to create the audience because I don't have any brand equity going in. I need people to know me, to trust me, to build a relationship with me. And the only way to do that is to try to produce a little bit more volume, which means I can't produce production level every time. I am going to.
So you think volume?
I produced the Will Smith one. You can come look in the second year at Carl. Carl's editing one right now, production level. Okay, production level TikTok video. But if I only do that, I'm only getting a video every 3-4 days because it takes him 3-4 days to edit them.
Totally.
3-4 days of editing for a production level video, not including shoot time, not including plan time, not including ideas. So at the end of the day, you have to.
I see what you're saying.
You have to still have the volume, otherwise you just, unless you have that audience already, you ain't gonna find it.
Makes sense.
So
that's a good tip.
We do production level in combination with volume. And the volume is still high quality.
Yeah,
so the volume is still super, super high quality. They're trendy, they're native, they're at the level that we need it to be. But every sixth video of mine is production level.
Interesting. That's good advice.
Because I only got 40,000 followers now. And we need to build that, right? And there's a combination of getting more videos to go, more people trusting me, more people engaging. I have 1 million likes on TikTok. I estimate I have somewhere around 100,000 comments. We have commented back to at least 60,000 of those comments.
Wow.
And that's where other people, we're trying to build a relationship with every single person, but we're putting in a lot of resources and a lot of time.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Same as you.
It's so exciting, man. It's exciting. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's exciting. And we can take our lessons learned no matter what happens. We can take the lessons learned and the brand equity from TikTok. No matter what happens. People are scared of certain things, TikTok going away, all this other. Doesn't matter what happens. That brand equity and that learning, that continual improvement I talked about.
Well,
we can take that anywhere.
Well, it's basically what happened with Vine, right? A lot of people from Vine.
Yeah, but the Viners that were good just reuse their Vine content are now popular on TikTok. If TikTok disappeared, the next TikTok, whatever that would end up being, because there's going to be a viral platform, we now have 300 videos banked. So now I can start from day one, not from day 1 year in. Because we started roughly 1 year into TikTok. We're late to the game.
How many other TikTokers have you met?
Not too many yet. Yeah, we tried to hold a TikTok event and no one showed up.
Are you serious?
Not joking, man.
Are you serious?
We tried to hold one at West Edmonton Mall, not a single person showed up. So it's there, but it's even the TikTokers in Edmonton. There's a couple in Edmonton.
Absolutely. Because if you see how other communities have risen up.
Yeah, they have multiple people in the TikTok.
They get a house and they're just TikToking. They're just collaborating.
Mm-hmm. No, we've reached out, but there's just we're not in LA and we're not in New York. Yeah. The people in Edmonton that are on TikTok It's still a very and TikTok is still has that stigma to it. I'm on TikTok. It's goofy, which will go away quickly. But at the my parents found
Well,
out
it's
I was on
like
TikTok.
Snapchat. It was just like Snapchat.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's a sexting thing, right?
Can you imagine? My parents found out I was on TikTok. They saw some of my early TikToks where we were running around trying to make volume. And of course they laughed a little bit at it, right? But the stigma's there and we're not worried about that. But some people still are. They have to just not. They just have to do it.
I'd love to, if you have a TikTok event, I'd love, this is why we brought these guys out to our the studio just to shoot. So I think we're gonna do that again, and I'd love to have you guys out.
100%.
I don't know what we'll do there, but
Yeah, we'll come with. We have a long list of ideas that we'll come with and we'll execute.
We can shoot some stuff. So
100%.
so let me send you a note because we're trying to figure out the planning for the next shoot. It's happening on Friday,
Okay.
but we're in the studio.
Yeah, we'll come
green
visit.
screen,
Yeah.
green screen, and just experiment.